Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tony Shaw with the Lee County Sheriff's Office. On behalf of Sheriff Carmine Marcino and all the men and women of the Lee County Sheriff's Office, we want to thank you for joining us today in person here in the school board chambers and live on the Lee County School District's YouTube channel. We're so excited you can join us. We got a lot of great stories today for our October ceremony of the 2021 school year. Before we get started, though, we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and today it's going to be led by Juan Lobo.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Juan. Everybody can be seated. Now, I want to acknowledge some folks before we get started today. The Lee County School Board, very instrumental in the Do the Right Thing program. Chairperson Debbie Jordan of District 4, Vice Chairperson Betsy Vaughn of District 6, Mary Fisher with District 1, Melissa Giovanelli with District 2, Chris Patrica with District 3, Gwinnetta Gettins with District 5, and Kathleen Morgan with District 7. Also, Dr. Ken Savage is the superintendent of schools. We appreciate all you do for our Do the Right Thing program. Let's have a round of applause for the school board and Dr. Savage. Now, representing Sheriff Marcino today and assisting us with the trophies and certificates to my right is Lieutenant Paul Walsh with our Youth Services Division. Lieutenant will be assisting us, and he has a few words on behalf of Sheriff Marcino.
Good afternoon and welcome today. We're here to celebrate such a joyous occasion. Let's take a moment to recognize the efforts of these students here. Because of parents and teachers and excellent guidance and great teaching skills, these kids are here today. So thank you all.
Thank you, Lieutenant. I also want to thank our civilian support unit. The people around here in the white shirts are the ones that set up for these ceremonies. They make everything appear very easy, and it's very orderly, and we want to thank you for your assistance. Let's have a round of applause for our civilian support unit. Also, personnel assisting with today's ceremony is Lieutenant Donnie Fuel with the Lee County Sheriff's Office, as well as Beth Shell, Tiffany Wood, and Staff Officer Stacy Detar. Also, Jason Sill and Emily Emmerich with the Lee County School District. They are running the cameras, the lights, the sound, and they're also live streaming today's ceremony, again, on the school district's YouTube channel, as well as Tiffany Wood up here taking pictures. Now, the still pictures, I'll try to get to the parents probably within the next week. If you look at the bottom of your program today, you'll see the YouTube channel's address. It is youtube.com/Lee Schools TV. Now, even though you're here live watching it today, anytime you're at home, just go ahead and log into that address, and you can watch a repeat of today's ceremony or any other ceremony during the school year, day or night. Just go ahead and log into the YouTube channel. Tell your friends and tell everybody else about it as well. Now, our special guest today is board member Kathleen Morgan, as I mentioned earlier, who represents District 7. We're so happy you could join us, and here's a few words from board member Kathleen Morgan.
Thank you, Tony. So the board members like to come to this ceremony because we want to celebrate the kids who are here, but also thank the parents. So students, you're here because you faced a challenge and you had to make a choice. And the choices you make tell us about your character. And I know you've all read about characters in your English classes, your language arts classes. These stories talk about people who, and you, who have chosen to serve others by making a difficult decision. And so we are here to celebrate you and to thank your families for all of the character education that you are doing at home. We love having your children. Thank you.
Board member Kathleen Morgan, thank you very much. Now, we also appreciate the support from our business community. Now, we could not do this, Do the Right Thing, without businesses and organizations and community groups that support us. Our two principal sponsors are Lee County Electric Cooperative and Alliance Financial Group. With their generosity, again, we're able to give out some nice trophies and prizes for all of these deserving students behind me. So let's have a round of applause for our principal sponsors, LCEC and Alliance Financial Group. So without further ado, we're here to honor some outstanding students today who've really stepped it up and made a difference in their schools. So let's get started. Our first winner today is Gail Padilla Gonzalez. Let's have a round of applause for Gail Padilla Gonzalez. Gail lives in Lehigh Acres and attends Harns Marsh Middle School. His principal is Alex Dworzanski, and school resource officer is Deputy Noel Castro. Right here, bud. And if those with Gail today want to come forward, and we will share his story. Stay right here, Gail. Stay right here. Hang put, Gail. We're going to tell your story, buddy. All right. Did Gail have anybody else with him today to come up? Okay. Yeah, come on up. Oh, yeah. Everybody come up here and stand by the lieutenant if we could, and we'll get a nice group picture, and then we'll tell your story. All right, stay put, stay put, stay put, stay put, stay put. We're going to tell your story, buddy. Gail is an 8th grader at Harns Marsh Middle School. Now, school resource officer, Deputy Noel Castro, writes, earlier this year, a teacher was injured when Gail realized she needed help and ran out of the classroom and went next door to get help. This is just one instance when Gail stands out. He is also like a big brother in our classroom and helps the kids in PE and during breakfast and lunch. Gail is always there to support when someone gets upset. He is a gentle giant and has such a caring heart. We are so blessed to have Gail in our classroom for the past few years. Gail, thank you for being that big brother for your classmates. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. All right, Azul Hernandez Vasquez, I don't believe she made it. We'll do a private ceremony at her school for her. Up next, we're going to have Alexandria Florkey. Let's have a round of applause for Alexandria Florkey. Alexandria attends Gateway Elementary and is in the 2nd grade. Her principal is Cherry Gibson, and school resource officer is Deputy Damon Geiger. And if those attending with Alexandria can please come forward as well, and we will share her story. Teacher Sherry Rapp writes, since the first day of school, Alexandria, or Allie, has been an amazing example of what a true friend and student is. She's a very hard worker academically and is always there to help others whenever needed. Everybody can stay here and hear the story. She loves to be the teacher's assistant and complete any task when asked to do so. Our class has recently received several new students, both of whom speak only Spanish. Allie has taken it upon herself to be their guide and show them how things work in class and around school, regardless of the language barrier. Allie also recognizes how to solve issues. Recently, she was seated next to another female student, and they realized that maybe they weren't a good fit to sit next to one another. Allie spoke politely to the other girl regarding her concern, and both of them came to me and explained that, although they like each other, it may be best if they don't sit next to each other because they might get too distracted. I am very proud of Allie for the leadership qualities she shows every day. She is a wonderful student and an example of what a future leader and an amazing friend looks like. Alexandria, thanks for taking a leadership role and for being a good friend. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Up next, we have Scarlet Cable. Let's have a round of applause for Scarlet Cable. Scarlet attends North Fort Myers Academy for the Arts. Her principal is Andrea Guns, and school resource officer is Deputy Javon Matthews. And if those with Scarlet today can please come forward, and we will share Scarlet's story with everyone. Scarlet is a fifth grader at North Fort Myers Academy for the Arts. School resource officer Deputy Javon Matthews writes, while waiting at parent pickup after school, Scarlet discovered a large sum of money under the bench where she was sitting. When Scarlet saw the money, she immediately stood up and looked for an adult faculty member. She told the adult that someone lost their money, and once given permission to pick it up, she gave it to the adult. Scarlet showed honesty and integrity by giving the money to an adult who could help find its rightful owner. Scarlet did the right thing and deserves to be recognized by the Lee County Sheriff's Office for her actions. Job well done. We couldn't agree more, Scarlet. Thank you for doing the right thing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Next up, we have Melissa Suarez. Round of applause for Melissa Suarez. Melissa attends Hancock Creek Elementary School. Her principal is Dr. Denise Phillips Luster, and school resource officer is Deputy Rachel Bauer. And those with Melissa can please come forward as well. Melissa is a fifth grader at Hancock Creek Elementary. School resource officer Deputy Rachel Bauer writes, recently Melissa came to me to report that another student may need some type of help. The student was hitting himself in the head with books and making concerning statements indicating that he may need to talk to a school guidance counselor. Melissa recognized that the issue needed to be addressed immediately and bravely came forward. Melissa's care and concern for other students in the classroom is deeply appreciated. Melissa, thank you for helping a fellow student who is going through a rough time. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Next up is Joshua Ramos. Round of applause for Joshua Ramos. Joshua attends Riverdale High School, where he is a junior. His principal is Scott Cook, and school resource officer, Deputy John Kahn, and Deputy Diego Orwella. And will those with Joshua today please come forward? Teacher J.B. Pryor writes, Josh has come a long way. He has shown massive improvement and growth. Josh tended to get in a lot of trouble his freshman year and had to spend time at ALC. But since then, Josh has made so many improvements in his behavior and in academics. He has shown leadership in class, helping other students and participating in class discussions. Josh has been an example of school spirit and encouraging others to get involved in school activities. He has made so many improvements in his overall academics and behavior that I feel we need to recognize when those who may have been headed down the wrong path make strides toward improving. Josh has always been an outgoing person, but it's wonderful to see his effort toward being a great person and changing the trajectory he was on. I am beyond proud of him, and I know Josh is proud of where he is today. He is proof that mistakes don't have to define you for the rest of your life. Josh, congratulations on forging a better path forward and turning it around. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Next up is Camden Murray. Let's have a round of applause for Camden Murray. Camden attends Dr. Carrie Robinson Littleton Elementary School. His principal is Monica Broughton, and school resource officer is Deputy Emily Bramowitz. And if those with Camden can please come forward, and we will share Camden's story. Camden Murray is a fourth grader at Dr. Carrie Robinson Littleton Elementary. Teacher Stephanie Brever writes, "One Friday afternoon I discovered I lost an earring, an expensive gold and topaz stud. The earrings are part of a set necklace and ring. I retraced my steps around campus, including the recess area where I had been doing cartwheels with some of my students earlier in the day. I went home disappointed, but in all respect, it wasn't the end of the world. On Monday, I decided to snap a close-up of the earring and sent out a school-wide email to my colleagues asking them to show it to the students. A few hours later, I walked my class into the lunchroom and dropped them off. As I was leaving, Camden Murray from another fourth grade class motioned me over. I said, 'Hey, what's up?' He took out a plastic container and pulled out my earring. He had found it at recess and kept it safe and sound. I thanked him and I told him I appreciated his honesty. The next week, when I offered him a $20 reward, Camden shook his head and said, 'You don't need to do that.' Camden, your honesty saved the day for one of your teachers, and I'm sure put a big smile on her face. Thanks for doing the right thing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you." Next up, we have Sydney Mcconnell. Let's have a round of applause for Sydney Mcconnell. Sydney attends Tice Elementary School. Her principal is Sharice Trent, and school resource officer is Deputy Kevin Ragtout. And if those with Sydney today want to please come forward. Sydney is a fifth grader at Tice Elementary. School resource officer Deputy Kevin Ragtout writes, "I've been assigned as a school resource officer at Tice Elementary for the last 4 years. During that time, Sydney Mcconnell has consistently made a positive impact on the student body by being a great role model, honor student, and friend to everyone she comes in contact with. I saw her most recent good deed while patrolling the cafe during lunchtime. From across the room, I saw a kindergarten student who was standing alone crying and very distraught. Before I could get to the student, Sydney saw the situation unfolding and immediately went over to console her. I watched as Sydney listened to the student's problem and then offer her kind words, and then the student stopped crying. With a huge smile on her face, she explained that she loves helping people when they have a problem. She feels that helping people is one of her greatest gifts. It is without a doubt that Sydney possesses the kindness that we should all strive for. Therefore, Tice Elementary is proud to represent you with Sydney's nomination for the Do the Right Thing Award. Sydney, Tice Elementary School is very lucky to have you. Keep up what you're doing. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Next up is Ethan Horn. Let's have a round of applause for Ethan Horn. Ethan attends Three Oaks Elementary. His principal is Tammy Lemaster, and school resource officer is Deputy William Weaver. And those with Ethan, if you want to please come forward. Ethan is a fifth grader at Three Oaks Elementary. His principal, Tammy Lemaster, writes, I would like to nominate Ethan Horn for the Do the Right Thing Award. At our school, we work hard expressing the importance of if you see something, say something. During recess, a couple of students became agitated with one another over a game they were playing. Unfortunately, the boys became physical with one another. This happened extremely fast, and while no other students witnessed it, and while other students did witness it, they were too stunned to react. But not Ethan. Ethan's teacher was close by, but was talking to a student when this happened. Ethan yelled for her attention, and the student was able to stop the boys within seconds. The most amazing part of this entire situation is that one of the boys is Ethan's friend. Many students would not have notified the teacher due to getting their friend in trouble. This took a lot of courage, and we are extremely proud of Ethan's quick response to this unfortunate situation. He is a true inspiration and a role model among his peers. It is an honor to nominate Ethan for this award. He said something when he saw something, and that is the perfect example of the Do the Right Thing Award. Ethan, thank you for stepping up and doing what you knew was right. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Lucas Patello is next. Let's have a round of applause for Lucas Patello. Lucas attends Three Oaks Elementary School, where he's in the third grade. And those with Lucas today can please come forward. We will share his story. School Resource Officer Deputy William Weaver writes, while walking to class, Lucas saw a kindergartner standing by the fence crying, saying he was going to leave school and go home. Lucas went immediately to his teacher and informed her of the encounter. I was notified, and a quick review of the video located the student in question standing by the school fence where Lucas had seen him. An image of the student was quickly sent to Principal Lemaster, who quickly searched the campus, locating the student who was still on campus. Principal Lemaster spoke with the student, who the student said that he missed his mommy. The student's mother was called, and the student spoke to his mother, which quickly soothed his concerns, and he was returned to class. Lucas's ability to recognize a potentially dangerous situation and his quick response is to be commended. Lucas, thanks for helping the boy who was sad that day. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Next up, we have a repeat winner from last year, Olivia Trudell. Let's have a round of applause for Olivia Trudell. Olivia Trudell attends Tortuga Preserve Elementary. Her principal is Jennifer Shonak, and school resource officer is Corporal Carolyn Gomez. And those with Olivia can please come forward as well. School Resource Officer Carolyn Gomez writes, I recently learned that Olivia, who is such a sweet fourth grade student, did something very special for children who are sick and have cancer. Olivia grew her hair for a long time, knowing she intended to use it for the good of others. Then Olivia cut off 8 inches of her hair and donated it to a charity that makes wigs for children who have lost their own hair due to cancer treatments. This is something near and dear to Olivia's heart, as she did the same thing last year as well. I commend Olivia for being so thoughtful of others and am proud that she is one of our students here at Tortuga Preserve Elementary. Olivia, thank you for cutting and donating your hair for such a good cause. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Next up, we're honoring 2 students together, Lisbeth Rivera Dominguez and Cameron Bennett. Let's have a round of applause for Lisbeth and Cameron. Lisbeth and Cameron both attend Tortuga Preserve Elementary. Lisbeth is a 3rd grader and Cameron is in the 4th grade. And those with Lisbeth and Cameron can please come forward as well. Lots of support today. Good, good, good. School Resource Officer Corporal Carolyn Gomez writes, Tortuga Preserve Elementary organized a coin drive fundraiser to raise money for MAD, or Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For 3 days, students brought in coins and bills to see who could raise the most money. At the conclusion of the drive, the students raised $1,870. The money was presented to Trish Rowd of the Lee County Sheriff's Office for the Walk Like Mad 5K event. All of the students worked hard to achieve their goal, but a couple truly went above and beyond the effort. Mrs. Martinez, a 3rd grade teacher, nominated Lisbeth, explaining that Lisbeth donated money daily with enthusiasm and supported MAD instead of buying herself a snow cone, giving so selflessly. And 4th grade student teacher Mrs. Rodriguez nominated Cameron, explaining that Cameron eagerly donated $25 of his own money in support of MAD. Mrs. Rodriguez said that she was so happy to see Cameron willingly give his own money, knowing that $25 is a lot of money for somebody that age. Lisbeth and Cameron, thanks so much for your sacrifice and putting others ahead of you. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Yeah. Jesse Zelter is up next. Let's have a round of applause for Jesse Zelter. Jesse attends Varsity Lakes Middle School. His principal is Dr. Scott Lemaster, and school resource officer is Deputy Robert Rabbit. Those with Jesse today can please come forward. Jesse is a 7th grader at Varsity Lakes Middle School. Teacher Morgan Combs writes, Jesse had no choice but to be absent from school for several weeks at the beginning of the school year. Without being told, reminded, or encouraged by the teacher, Jesse made up work and brought his grade from an F to an A in just a few days. The initiative that Jesse exemplifies is rewarding to watch. To add to his academic achievements, Jesse found a sterling silver ring with a blue gem and turned it in to his teacher. The student that owns the ring had been looking for it for days before Jesse found it, and was excited that it was found and not stolen. Jesse went further to follow up and ensure that the student had been reunited with the ring. On another occasion, Jesse took the initiative to clean up someone else's mess in the classroom. He beams with kindness and integrity. We are tremendously proud of Jesse and proud that he is a Lee County School District student. Jesse, thank you for your kindness and your honesty. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Up next is Harley Marker. Let's have a round of applause for Harley Marker. Harley attends Varsity Lakes Middle School, where she is in the 8th grade. And those with Harley can please come forward. Teacher Felicia Civil writes, just 24 hours ago, 2 young men were arrested within our greater Lee County School District community after a brave student spoke up. We had a very brave student of our own at Varsity Lakes Middle School speak up as well. Harley took the brave steps by seeing something and saying something. Harley noticed another student researching inappropriate items on their computer. She knew that the other student was doing something wrong and that it could lead to a more serious, potential dangerous situation if not acted upon. The bravery Harley showed by saying something to her teacher led to an email that led to an investigation by the Lee County Sheriff's Office. One action could have saved countless lives, and Harley will forever be a hero to me, the teacher she trusted in that day. Harley, your bravery is to be commended. You are the definition of do the right thing, and the Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Next up is Antron Sheared. Let's have a round of applause for Antron Sheared. Antron attends Manatee Elementary School. His principal is Diane Sherman, and school resource officer is Deputy Chuck Worf. Those with Antron can please come forward. Antron is a 4th grader at Manatee Elementary. School resource officer Deputy Chuck Worf writes, on behalf of his teacher, Mrs. Quezada, I would like to nominate Antron Sheared for the Do the Right Thing Award. Antron has gone out of his way to show kindness to one of his classmates who, due to a disability, uses a wheelchair. Antron assists his classmate with things such as carrying his lunch to the table, throwing away his tray, bringing him supplies in class, and providing a little extra horsepower for the wheelchair through the halls of the school when his student friend needs a break. Antron's acts of kindness have been noticed by staff members, including his teacher, Mrs. Quezada. Antron's classmate was unfortunately dealt a tough circumstance, but he's been blessed with an amazing and caring friend in Antron. For his kindness and compassion, it is my and his teacher's honor to nominate Antron Sheared for the Do the Right Thing Award. Antron, congratulations. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Next up is Mark Garno. Let's have a round of applause for Mark Garno. Mark attends Sunshine Elementary School. His principal is Aaron Brandeo, and school resource officer is Deputy Rodolphus Hall. Those with Mark can please come forward. Mark is a fifth grader at Sunshine Elementary. Teacher Ruth Ritchie writes, Mark is a very brave student. He went above and beyond to be a very good friend and example to others. Mark noticed how a classmate had been bullied for a disorder that causes him to pull his hair out, and he frequently has to shave his head. Mark saw how being bullied made his friend feel, so he decided to shave his own head to support his friend. Mark has showed compassion and understanding. The students in the class were happy that Mark and his friend were twins, which led to the other boys in the class wanting to shave their heads too. I am so proud of Mark. And so are we, Mark. Thank you for showing true care and compassion. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Juan Lobo is next. Round of applause for Juan Lobo. Juan attends Bonita Springs Charter School. His principal is Carissa Carroll, and school resource officer is Deputy Chris Niebel. And those with Juan can please come forward, and we will share Juan's story. Juan is an eighth grader at Bonita Springs Charter School. Alexis Darris writes, I'd like to nominate Juan Lobo for exemplary sportsmanship during a cross-country meet. Our school attended a practice cross-country meet at another school with several other area schools. There were 50-plus boys running. Juan finished 13th and came in with the first group to finish. Instead of going to rest, he went back to cheer on not only his own teammates, but other kids from other schools. Near the end of the race, there were a couple of boys that were finishing quite a bit later than the majority of the other runners. When Juan saw them down the stretch, he ran to join them on the side of the track and offer words of encouragement and support. I have rarely seen a 13-year-old act in such a supportive and caring way towards others that he doesn't even know. Juan's energy did not end there. He stayed on the field cheering during the girls' race, too. I believe that Juan's support of others and exemplary sportsmanship deserve to be nominated for the Do the Right Thing award. There were several adults watching the races with tears in their eyes watching Juan. He gained nothing by acting in this way, but it meant so much to others. I am incredibly proud of Juan. So are we, Juan. Congratulations for this award. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. And finally, we have Isabella Brothers. Let's have a round of applause for Isabella Brothers. Isabella attends Fort Myers Beach Elementary School. Her principal is Karen Manzi, and school resource officer is Deputy Colleen Layler. And those with Isabella today can please come forward. School Resource Officer Deputy Colleen Layler writes, recently, second grade student Isabella Brothers was being driven to school by her mother when her mother experienced a medical event. Isabella, being familiar with her mother's condition, quickly recognized what was happening and grabbed her mother's cell phone and called 911. Isabella was able to relay the vehicle's description and direction of travel to the 911 operator to assist deputies with locating the vehicle, which had traveled more than 15 miles before being safely stopped by deputies. Isabella was able to inform the deputies of her mother's condition, which allowed them to summon Lee County EMS to assist Isabella's mother and then transport her to the hospital for treatment. At 8 years old, Isabella was able to separate her fear, making her mother's medical need a priority, and ultimately bringing the situation to a close where her mother was able to get the treatment that was needed and the assistance from deputies, which resulted in a safe outcome for everyone involved. Had it not been for Isabella's actions, this event may have had a tragic ending. And the story doesn't end there. After being assured her mother was okay, Isabella then said she wanted to go back to school for the rest of the day, and in fact insisted on it. Isabella, thank you for your quick thinking and for staying cool-headed to help your mother and make sure she got the help she needed. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is very proud of you. Again, just a reminder to subscribe to the Lee County Lee County School District's YouTube channel. And again, you can watch today's ceremony anytime you wish. Again, for anybody wishing for a group photo or any other additional photos, we'll be up front in just a minute and we can take care of those. I want to thank everyone today for participating. And again, let's give our students one big final standing ovation.